talking about a little water issue down in the Flint Basin, and that's why I'm Sam me late getting in here. And Clay, would you ask a blessing for this crowd, and we need it today.
Yes, sir. Bow with me, if you will. Dear Heavenly Father, Lord, I do thank you so much for this day and for those that are gathered here in this room. Lord, I pray that you'll be with us this morning as we deliberate issues that are important to the state. Lord, help us to understand those things that are important and those things that aren't. Lord, help us to always look to you for our strength and our wisdom. May it always come from you. This I ask in your name, Jesus. Amen.
Thank you, sir. Thank y'all for getting up and coming early. Hunter, you had somebody from the university you wanted to introduce.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Today I have Ashley Smith with me. She's a senior at UGA College of Ag, and over the summer she was a Congressional Ag Fellow from that program that they run, and today she's going to be shadowing us.
Well, good. I hope you pay attention to somebody besides Brian and Hunter today. But thank you. Do what, Gary? Thank you for coming to your capital. And I hope you learn a little bit. We have two resolutions. Has anybody else got any announcements? Anything or concerns? We have two resolutions today. And Ms. Valencia, I'm going to take a personal privilege, I think, because I got to get to a water meeting. So I'm going to do this first one and then let Miss Susan take over. And you know, Miss Valencia doesn't necessarily farm for a living, but I want to say something about her. She has the Atlanta market in her district. And she took the time this summer to spend 2 or 3 days with us all over South Georgia. She touched her first cow and went through the largest peanut shell in the world. And I appreciate you taking this kind of interest in agriculture, because you know your people need us and we need y'all as far as in your district. And but if you don't mind, if you got a minute, let me get this done, and then we'll do yours if that's okay. But thank you for the interest you have in ag and promoting it down in Clayton County. First one is HR 1473, and what it is, I guess I can do this from here. It's just creating a study committee on industrial hemp. The biggest thing this study committee is going to do is make sure that everybody understands that there's a difference between hemp and marijuana. And there's a lot of opportunities in Georgia, I think, for farmers to produce industrial hemp. And this is just a study committee to study those opportunities or the negative parts of it. And that's what we want to kind of get straightened out. If you read it, the speaker appoints. The study committee is just a House study committee. And there's probably 15 or 20 signatures on it, and could have got more than that if we'd have tried. So we're the only state around us that doesn't do industrial hemp. And if you read it, it can be used in everything from lotions to concrete. And if anybody has any questions, I'll try to answer them. If they're hard, Jerry Usher can answer them. And if anybody in the audience wants to comment, we didn't put a sheet out there. Oh, we did. Okay. Nobody signed up on it, but if anybody wants to talk about it, then we'll be more than happy to let you. Who is number 2? Is that you, Patty?
Okay. Good morning, Mr. Chairman and colleagues. With this study committee, Mr. Chairman, I'm assuming there will be, if all goes well with this committee, there will be meetings across the state.
Mm-hmm.
I would like to suggest if you would consider Fort Valley State University as a place for a meeting as you would go forward across the state this summer.
And if you look in there on line 13, it
Okay.
talks about selected Georgia colleges and universities.
Very good. And I'd be happy to help coordinate one down at Fort Valley State University.
We would like
All right,
to
great.
do it down there sometime.
Wonderful, wonderful. Thank you.
4, that you dominate.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just wanted to go on the record as saying that the state representative that was being a little hard on hemp in the van the other day apologizes for that, and I look forward to studying it.
The state rep in the van the other day was leaning toward marijuana instead of hemp, I think. So, does anybody else have any questions or comments? Gary, you want to say something? Yeah.
Good morning, members of the committee. Morning. Thank y'all. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, for bringing this, and I want you to know I support the study committee, and we're glad to see this. We look forward to talking through the process too, to try to reveal some of the other it's been an interesting thing watching this develop with my counterparts, and most everywhere it's been there's a bedlam part of this that goes with it from a regulatory side, right, that we have to be prepared to talk about, and that's not negative, it's just reality, and that's what we have to look at it when it comes to fitting in. The thing that I would urge us all to be open to is that yes, it was in the Farm Bill to do the research and to be affiliated, with research institutions, which is a good thing, except as all of y'all know, just cause it's in a piece of federal legislation doesn't mean that all the answers come with it, and they didn't. And I just got back from our national meeting the first of last month, and one of our counterparts in North Carolina, my counterpart in North Carolina, they had 3 pages of detailed action items that they had run into, just simply to try to get clarification from the federal government as to what to do. And so that'll be, maybe we can be the constructive part of that and make some of those recommendations back to the federal government of what they need to change, because there's a lot of moving parts in there. Yeah, there's a lot that you can do with this, and we need all the opportunity we can. But we sure look forward to, if we can be a resource to the committee. I hope we look forward to being there.
And I hope if this thing passes that we're not going to try to reinvent the wheel.
Yeah.
And that's where you're going to have to come in. I spent some time with your counterpart from Kentucky when we were in Kansas City back first of the year, talking about the stumbling blocks they had all the way from the regulatory part to there's no label chemicals to, that kind of stuff that they had to work through.
And
but I think there's a lot of interest in the agricultural community and this being
every
crop.
plant I'm aware of has a pest. I'm
Right.
not aware of a pestless plant, and therefore, if there's going to be a fungicide or a nematicide or an insecticide, last time I looked with the Environmental Protection Agency, there's 17 different steps. There are risk cups that you have to do to make sure a risk assessment for the introduction of adding any crop to any pesticide. That's 11-year, $100 million, hundreds of millions of dollars. And so that's what in this grand scheme, folks kind of just say, okay, me too, let's go do it. And boy, if this committee could help quantify some of that in real ways, but that would be I think it'd be a service to the country, actually. So.
And I realize all that.
Thank
And
you,
I
Mr.
also
Chairman.
realize the other thing we got to get by is the Sheriff's Association that we have to deal with,
Yeah.
get them
But
comfortable.
thank you for bringing it. We look forward to cooperating. with you.
Okay. Clay, do you have a question for Gary?
Just a comment. We just want to educate the commissioner, who I have great respect for, but I've not found where Palmer Amaranth needs any rain. I've not seen any pesticide problems with it or a fungicide. So pigweed is pretty hardy to most everything, and I think you could grow it fine with no
Oh.
chemicals whatsoever.
Yes, sir. No, I got your angle. It took me a little while to catch your angle there.
Yes, sir.
I agree with Representative Perkle. That may be very well one of our the evils of that we've not been able to overcome yet. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Rick?
Yes, that's really for Gary Black. I mean, I guess I haven't studied this much, Mr. Chairman, but is it not true that this still hemp, the plant is still a Schedule I drug? It's illegal in the United States. And the difference between hemp and marijuana is just the THC content. So would you not have? You'd have to have significant budget to test fields to make sure their THC content was below 0.03 or whatever it is. I mean, I guess that's part of all this too.
Yeah. Okay.
Badging and
I
gun.
think everybody needs to know that's part of this thing. That's what's going on
Yeah,
too.
yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Anybody else have any comment? All right, has anybody got a motion, one way or the other? Got a motion and a second, all in favor of the study committee on industrial hemp 1473, say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. All right, thank y'all. I'm gonna let the one that knows how to run a meeting take over, cause I gotta go across the road and, yeah, and talk about water.
Yeah. Well, this is a treat for me. I mean, how do you step into Chairman McCall's shoes or chair or anything? I'm not sure. I'm not sure that's easy, but I'm gonna scoot over here so I can see this screen.
Thank you, Miss Susan.
Well. Okay, now where is the? This is it. Okay. Now this is going to be a treat for me to hear your presentation, and we are bringing up resolution 1471, and I thank you, ma'am, for being here. And this is a topic that is very near and dear to my heart, and I thank you for your work on it. Great. There you go. Wow. Is her mic on? Is her mic? Okay.
They're tearing up things.
Go ahead.
Good morning, Madam Chair and committee members. I bring before you this morning House Resolution 1471, which will create a House Study Committee on the revitalization of the Atlanta State Farmers Market. And I thank you all for allowing the opportunity for me to present this resolution. The Atlanta State Farmers Market was acquired in 1956 with about 150 acres located in Clayton County, the city of Forest Park. It is the largest and most comprehensive of the 9 markets located across the state. The Georgia Department of Agriculture, through the Commission of Agriculture, is authorized by the General Assembly to establish and make necessary rules and regulations to properly conduct such markets. And please excuse my voice, I'm coming down with a cold. The Department of Ag operates the 9 farmers market across the state to promote handling, packing, transporting, storage, distribution, inspection, and the sale of agricultural products. So you may ask, why is a study committee needed? To determine the viability and create recommendations to ensure the longevity in a changing agriculture industry. My office for the past year and a half have been having meetings with our local government, businesses. We've even met with Commissioner Black's office, the Atlanta Produce Dealers Association, the Georgia Department of Economic Development, and the Tourism Department, and many others on getting the ball rolling on revitalization of the Atlanta State Farmers Market. It is a huge stapler in the areas I represent, but in the opinion of many, has been underutilized. It is the last thing a person sees leaving Clayton and the first thing a person sees when entering into Clayton. Because it is state-run, then the state should take the lead as it has started to do on it as far as the revitalization. And every entity and community person I have spoken with wants to know when will it happen. Clayton State University, their MBA class in November of 2017 compiled a SWOT marketing plan. There was a recent audit that was conducted in January of 2018 by the Georgia Department of Audits and Accounts Performance Audit Division on all 9 farmers market in the state. A performance audit had not been conducted since 1988. The purpose was to identify if the markets are meeting the needs of Georgia's agriculture industry, whether it's operating in a cost-efficient manner, and whether it has properly designed controls over market operations. In the 2016 fiscal year, markets generated, all 9 generated about $6.9 million in revenue from leases, rents, gate tickets, and truck scale fees, and the expenditures were approximately $4 million. Of that amount, 84% of that came from the Atlanta State Farmers Market, and 64% was the expenditures that was caused by, that came through by the Atlanta Farmers Market. One of the things is appropriation in 2015 and 2016 totaling $14 million was implemented to start the first phase of the plan commissioned by the Georgia Department of Revenue in 2011. That was a study that was started and it was completed in 2013 to modernize and extend the useful life of the Atlanta market by doing some roof repairs and to construct new wholesale cooler warehouse. Excuse me. One of the things is the visitation is low and many facilities are outdated and need repair, which you can see in some of the pictures that I've shown around. And the top recommendations from the audit was to evaluate the future direction. Along with the distribution areas, which is what is very heavily known for, as far as a large generation of money to the state. The other one is to identify potential tourism opportunities for not only the local residents, but nationally and international visitors that come and visit the airport. There's on the average of at least 100 million people that come through the Atlanta Hartsfield-Jackson Airport on a yearly basis. The second thing is to encourage urban agriculture education in the metro Atlanta area. Just like I went down to took the tour with Chairman McCall, it was very educational for me. And a lot of times, I was born and raised in the metro area, so I don't have any clue about the farm or what happens on the farm. I know I like to eat everything and consume everything from there, but many of our students don't understand the value of what happens on the farm. And I think that the Atlanta State Farmers Market can be instrumental in doing some kind of agriculture education for the metro Atlanta area, and just about anywhere, but I know looking at the urban areas. And thirdly is preserving the history of the agriculture and Atlanta State Farmers Market in some type of museum. So those are just some ideas, nothing in concrete on there, but those are some of the things that we heard when we have been talking with everyone, not just in the community, but across the state as well. And in order for this to accomplish these things, definitely a public-private partnership will have to be formed. We don't feel that having to put all the burden on the state to be able to revitalize and bring it up. We have to have some kind of public-private partnership brought into the mix. And I think that might have been it. One other thing that we've also been talking about locally with the city, our local city and county government, when you talk about public-private partnership, was exploring a community improvement district as well. Right now in Clayton County, we do have one CID, which is Phoenix Boulevard, right when you get off 285 and near the airport. And so we were looking at exploring a CID right in front of the farmers market, and even extending all the way to South Lake Mall, which is another fixture in Clayton County. So those are things we've already been talking about, and we think that the House Study Committee would be a good way to get the catalyst started and showing that the state, on the state level, that we're interested in what's going on at the state farmers market. And I have spoken with Commissioner Black. We actually had a real good meeting. I think probably the first time we met the other day for a long time, but we had been talking all along, and so I let him give his support, but we did come to an agreement on the House Study Committee would be a good approach to be able to start.
Very good. Thank you so much for a very enlightening report. Appreciate your interest. Does anybody have any questions or comments for Representative Stovall? Yes, sir. Representative.
Thank you, Madam Chair. We, I want to echo Representative Stovall what Chairman McCall said. It meant the world to me personally for you to come on that ag tour in South Georgia with us and have an opportunity to come to my district or to my people's district and see the peanut processing plant and look at the everywhere from where they grow the peanuts to how they combine and take them to the buying points all the way to the processing. And so it really means a lot to me that you took the time to come down there and see that. And I certainly appreciate your interest in studying the farmers market and the impact that it has. But I wanted to share a quick little story with you, and I don't think that Chairman Watson would mind me sharing this. Sam Watson has a company, or his organization is Chill Sea Farms, grows a lot of vegetables, peppers, eggplant, squash, etc. When we were out of session the other day, he went to the farmers market and met with some of those buyers to sell his product. And so those are Georgia grown. One of our own colleagues that depends on that to feed his family has customers in that farmers market that he sells that product to, and is able to make money in his business, and then those buyers sell it out of there to restaurants and stores in this area. And it just reminds me what a small world or a small state we really live in when you start to connect all the dots. And one of my brother's best friends has a buying point there that is going to buy product from one of my friends, Chairman Sam Watson. And so we don't need to forget how all of these dots are connected and how much we depend on agriculture in this state. Just thank you so much for what you're doing.
Thank you. You're welcome.
Anybody else? Who is that? Okay. Representative Bentley.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just want to thank Representative Stovall for her work on this study committee request, and I'm ready for offer due pass when that time comes.
Thank you very much. Now, do we have anybody else? Commissioner Black. Yes. Thank you so much. Appreciate your work, Representative.
Thank you, Madam Chair and members of the committee. Again, I want to thank my good friend Representative Stovall for bringing this to our attention too. And we have had several good meetings. There are a couple of things that I'd love to just kind of accent what's already been said this morning. When the market system was developed, it's important for all of us to remember that the agriculture times that we lived in, and if you would, you may have heard me say this before, there was a time when farmers, the entrance has always been the entrance. Most of us have been there. And you turn off Forest Parkway, going towards Forest Park, you turn left and you go in the main gate. See, in 1959 and 1969, and to some extent 1979, farmers came to the Atlanta State Farmers Market and primarily turned left. They went to the sheds because that's the way it was done. People came and sold watermelons for 6 weeks, or they had when sweet corn. So one thing, important mission of the Atlanta State Farmers Market, we always have to remember that the sheds to the left, there must always be a place for Georgia farmers. And as long as I get to do this job, there always will be. But the but is this, and Representative Stovall and I, we know this. The future now that the time we find ourselves in now is that most farmers, like Representative Watson, like Chairman Watson, they come in the Atlanta State Farmers Market. They go through the same entrance, but they do not turn left. They turn right. Their truck's not a pickup truck. Their truck is a tractor with a 53-foot trailer, or a reefer box of some sort that's coming with pre-graded vegetables, and they're going to Sutherland's. They're going to whoever's on the hill, because as we call it, the hill, or the Nicky Gregory down on the lower left. That's the terminal market for the Southeast. So if it's in a restaurant, it probably came through Atlanta. And so I'm happy to report to you that when we were in here a couple of 3 weeks ago, well, actually it wasn't Ag Committee, but it was House Appropriations. Chairman Houston asked for a report about where in the world are we with that building that y'all funded. And it's had its own set of challenges, but the bids are opening today, March 14th. This is the day we've been looking for. The 72,000 square foot next generation produce house will be built on the lower part of the market. Eight segments of the sheds will be replaced with a 21st century produce house that's already occupied. The leases are already ready. It's ready to be occupied. And really part of that future we already know is about 2 more of those buildings on that part of the market. But there's still so much education. There's so much there is community outreach. There's maybe a little spruced up nature of what we're going to do with the farmer shed for those that still want to access that. And so we love the community being involved, and we're appreciative of that. And y'all been so good to us over time. We in investing in this facility. But as Representative had her financial report, you'll see that this is one of those. This is a revenue generating part of our operation. So it's really not a cost to the state. Every time we have investment, this is about jobs, because we build this new 72,000 square foot one, and then maybe 2 more just like it. That's another several hundred jobs in Representative Stovall's district, which we're most concerned about, and I know she is too. So Madam Chair, we thank you. And if anybody's got any other question about the market, I'd love to try to answer it. But I appreciate your support.
Thank you. Thank you, sir. Anybody have questions, comments of Commissioner Black?
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Okay. What do you think? Do we have anybody? That's it. Okay. It is just our farmers markets across the state are such fabulous assets to this state, and it just really thrills me to see the interest and the excitement and the commitment to them. So thank you very much. Representative Bentley, I think it's appropriate for your motion now.
Resolution 1471 to create a study committee.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you so much. Is there anything anybody else needs to bring before the committee? Thank you very much for coming. We're adjourned.